Well, I've got you on the app, Rachel. So I had Ken earlier. I don't have him, but I've got you. So that is the important one.
Well, it's probably going to switch when one of us is talking. It'll switch to that camera.
Oh, okay.
So, welcome to Fill Your Fridge Meal Planning Mastery.
Yay.
I'm excited to have you guys all here and to be starting this next 5 weeks with you. So I just want to take a minute to set the intention for our call, and we'll set the intention on all of our calls. I think that it helps us stay focused, and it reminds me and all of us why we're here. So my intention of the course is to radically transform your relationship to eating well and feeling great.
Yeah.
Deal.
All right.
Yes.
And I want you guys to know that there is confidentiality. Anything that does get said on the call stays on the call. So this is a safe space for all of us to come and just talk about what's going on with us in the world of our eating. Are we, what are our successes? What are our failures? What are our questions? I encourage you to be as active as you can. I'm sorry, was there a question? Okay. And the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. One of the things that I want to really get clear straight away is you guys, you're working on changing habits. So there's going to be some work involved. And it's going to be challenging at times. And the important thing is to set yourself up for success. So just as you've scheduled time for our call, you also want to schedule time for your shopping and for your meal preparation and for your eating. It's really easy to get so involved with what we're doing and to get so busy and schedule our lives so tightly that we don't actually even think about time to eat a proper meal. So I want you to start getting in the habit of scheduling time for these things. And remember to be okay if it just doesn't happen sometimes. Because sometimes it's just not going to happen. So all of that is okay, but it is going to take some work. And I just want to be clear up front so that when you start realizing that the work is happening, that you're ready for it. Because I really want you to succeed. And I think you really want to succeed too.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Yep.
So we're going to start with one of these documents, and it's a welcome document. Welcome to your program. And all of the documents that I show you, I will email to you at the end of our session. So what we're going to do is we're going to take turns reading this. And who would like to start? And just read a paragraph. Everyone will read a paragraph. And then when we get down to the bullet points, read 3 bullet points at a time.
I'll lead up if you want.
Okay, go for it, Ken.
Congratulations, you've made an exceptional commitment to yourself and your future. I truly look forward to working with you during the coming exploration of meal planning and healthy eating. I love working with intelligent, motivated clients, and I'm looking forward to our work together.
Yay.
I'll go next.
Okay.
I'll go next. We'll have an amazing session. We'll have amazing sessions where we will discuss your program, your progress, as well as your success and challenges in looking after yourself. You will experience major changes in your life, and I am honored to contribute to this process.
I'll go next. Since most of this program, occurs outside of our sessions while you are living and eating in your daily life, ultimately the results depend on you. What you put in, you will get out. Please read and sign the following. Do you want me to go next?
Dearest body of mine,
Yes.
after careful thought and consideration, I hereby promise to honor you as the temple of my soul,
Yeah.
offer you healthy foods and drinks, and realize that you deserve to be healthy.
I love it.
I hereby promise to overcome the addictions that hurt you, to love and appreciate you for what you do, and to accept that I have the power to heal you.
Yummy.
Adorn you with nice, comfortable clothes and shoes. Realize that laughter, play, and rest help you feel good. Exercise regularly and appropriately for my body type.
Wow, I feel so inspired already. Oh, I love it. I accept you. Yeah, I accept you and be grateful for you just the way you are. I listen to messages you are sending me when you are hurt or sick. I understand that my unexpressed emotions and thoughts affect you. Wow.
Bravo.
So, and most importantly,
I love you so much.
I love you so much.
I love you so much.
So you're all going to get a copy of this. And what I really encourage you to do is keep it somewhere where you're going to see it. We forget. It's our nature as human beings. We forget. So I really encourage you to keep this where you can see it on a regular basis and remind yourself, even if it's just once a week, right before our calls.
I love this.
Deal.
Great. All right. Now I'm going to I want to go over a few key concepts that we are going to be looking at, and really, like, they really form the basis of the program. Oops, actually I want to show my screen. Okay. So this is Fill Your Fridge, Meal Planning Mastery.
I'm here with you, Dana. I'm on mute.
No, you're not. You're not on mute.
Okay.
Okay, so one of the key concepts is bioindividuality. One person's food is another person's poison. And all of us on this call are going to have different requirements as far as what will feed us and nourish us the best. So I think it's really important that we keep that in mind as we move forward. And I love that little picture. Not sure if I should go paleo or should I go raw vegan. Like, those are at the two opposite ends of the spectrum as far as styles of eating. And it's so interesting how nutrition is the only science where you can have two opposing beliefs that can be proved true.
What's paleo? I've never heard that term.
Ah. So let's take a look at some terms, right? Like, there's all these terms that get thrown around out there. And what do they actually mean? So we can start with paleo. And does anybody know what paleo means?
That's no grain, just fruits, vegetables, and protein, animal protein.
Pretty much. The idea is that you're eating the way that Paleolithic man ate. So that was before they really ate grains. They didn't obviously eat processed foods. It was basically meat, stuff they could kill, and stuff they could gather. Nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables. So it's one of the newer fads in eating. So we have vegan. What's a vegan? Who wants to tell me what a vegan is?
That's not me.
That's someone that eats no meat, all vegetables, fruit, no dairy.
No animal products at all.
No animal byproducts, including honey.
What?
Bee
Really?
spit.
I didn't know that.
Like a real hardcore vegan won't even eat honey. They won't have leather shoes. They won't, a hardcore vegan is no animal byproducts whatsoever.
Wow.
Okay, so then we have a vegetarian. A vegetarian is someone who will eat some animal byproducts, and there are levels of vegetarian, but they usually will eat some dairy and maybe some eggs. They're often called ovo-lacto vegetarians. Then you have a pescatarian who eats vegetables and fish.
Yes.
And then you have a flexitarian, which is kind of, really, it's kind of like those other two. It's kind of like a pescatarian. They're someone who's mainly vegetarian, but they'll sometimes eat some fish or some chicken. We talked about paleo, and then I do want to just touch on gluten-free. Does anybody know what gluten is?
I'm not sure. Is it related to wheat? That's what I thought it was.
It's in wheat. Okay, so gluten is a protein that's found in wheat as well as a couple of other items, and it can be inflammatory to the human body. 50 years ago, we started hybridizing our wheat for higher crop yield and better defenses against pests. And what we did was we actually increased the strands of gluten in our wheat products. We doubled them. And not only did we double them, but we increased the number of inflammatory gluten strands. So what we're finding is a lot of people are finding themselves suddenly gluten intolerant or with celiac disease. And it's only something that's happened in the last 50 years. And it's not that it's a fad diet. It's just that we've changed the way that we grow our food. So it's had an effect on the way the food acts in our bodies. Yes. And personally, I'm gluten-free. I encourage everybody to try it for a month and see if it makes a difference. It may or may not. If it does, great. You'll choose what you want to do after that. And if it doesn't, great. You don't have to worry about it. I say I'm an eat what my body wants-ian. And this is really key. And I just had this conversation with a friend of mine, actually. So she dates a guy who's mostly vegan and into raw foods and into eating a lot of fruit. And we were talking about her and her health, and it turns out she has candida. Mm. So she thought conceptually that being a fruitarian was really great for her health. As it turns out, for her in particular, it's not really great. It's actually the worst thing she could do because she's feeding the candida, so it's just exacerbating her problems. So the idea is that we get away from our concepts and we get into our body. And we start to listen to what our body wants, not what our mind thinks is best, or what our taste buds want. So there's a distinction between my mouth wants garlic pizza and my body really wants some grilled chicken and some greens. So we're learning about fine-tuning in how to listen to our personal radio station and listen to our body. And that's really key. And it takes some playing with. You know, it's definitely something that you're going to be playing with over the next few weeks. And we're in school right now, so take the time to learn what there is to learn and try out different approaches to the way you eat. So in the program, we're going to delve deeper into the macronutrients, the protein, fats, and carbohydrates. But I wanted to just give a quick overview so that we have something that we're moving, to build on. And we hear these terms thrown around all the time: protein, fat, carbohydrates, and it's too late. The answer's right in front of you. But I was going to say, so what is protein and what does it do in our body? So who wants to talk about protein?
Well, what I know about protein is that it's composed of 20 amino acids. If I'm correct, 9 of which are essential.
Okay, all right.
Personally, I believe it's the building block of the body.
Smarty pants. What does essential mean?
They are needed for processes of the body.
It actually means that we have to get them from our food sources. The other 11 our body will manufacture, but there are 9 that we have to get from food. And we have complete protein and incomplete protein. A complete protein is a protein such as an animal protein that contains all of the amino acids that we need in that one food. An incomplete protein is something like rice which has some amino acids, which is often paired with beans, which has the complementary amino acids. So then between the two, you get a complete protein. And again, we'll look deeper at that. This is just a quick overview. Again, as a guideline, a recommended daily intake is 0.36 grams per pound of body weight. So you can just get a rough idea, and this is, again, very general, but it's a way to start getting a rough idea of how much you want to include in your body. Fats are used as a source of energy. They cushion and support our internal organs, and they also make food taste good. They can be saturated, mono-unsaturated, polyunsaturated. And the recommended daily intake is about 20 to 35% of our total caloric intake. Now, again, this is very general. That's about 3 to 4 teaspoons of fat. Now, on the way I'm prescribed by my doctor to eat right now, I'm eating like 2 tablespoons of fat per meal. So there is no one rule for everybody, and there is no one rule for every time in your life. It just depends on what you're working on and what your focus is at that time. Carbohydrates often get a bad rap. People want to cut them out. They don't want to get fat. We need carbohydrates. They make up the majority of our energy. Without complex carbs, we're going to run out of gas. And it can lead to some serious issues if we keep making demands on our body without enough fuel. It's not like a car where we're just going to stop. Eventually we will, but for the human body to stop, that means that you've pushed it way, way, way beyond the bounds of what works. Carbs can be simple or complex, and the recommended daily intake is approximately 45 to 65% of your total calories. So those are the macronutrients. We then have the micronutrients, which are the vitamins and minerals that are necessary for all of your bodily processes. And we're really not going to go into those individually. Suffice it to say that if you eat the rainbow daily, if you eat a range of fruits and vegetables, you'll get the micronutrients that you need. And that's something that's really important to think about, is eating whole foods. So we get our nutrition from our foods, our nutrients. We want to eat whole foods because they contain all of the nutrients that were originally designed in that plant or that animal. And those are what our bodies need. When we start to take pieces of food out or adding other things to food other than the way it was made, we start missing out on things that our body needs to function. So how do we make changes in what we eat?
Buying organic? Oh.
Slowly but surely. Nothing's going to happen overnight. And what we are going to do is we're going to take very small, very attainable steps every week. So by the end of the 5 weeks, we can look back and go, wow, look how far I've come. But what we don't want is to feel any stress or any strain, and we're certainly not going to change our entire way of eating in one session. And it's about the easy way. You're going to hear me talking about grace and ease. What I don't want you guys to ever experience is stress and strain, because that's not fun and you're not going to want to do it. So the focus is on what's graceful and what's easy. And we will talk about organics, Sil. So thank you for bringing that up. We're going to talk about organics. We're going to talk about GMOs and the role that they play.
Okay.
Now I'd like to take a moment for us to get related. I'll give a brief introduction on myself. We'll take about a minute, less than a minute each, just to give a brief intro, your name, one thing you'd like us to know about you, and your location. And what's your main goal? What's the main thing you want to achieve out of this program? So my name is Rachel, and I'm a health and lifestyle coach and a professional chef. and I'm in Coconut Creek. And something I'd like you to know about me is that I started cooking professionally because of the experience. When I first learned to cook, it was in a kitchen with a couple of women, and they were always telling stories, and we were always talking, and we had music on while we were cooking, and it was just a very emotive experience for me, and it engendered a lot of feeling, and a good feeling. And so that's how I relate to cooking now. For me, it's an experience. It's not just a meal preparation. And my main goal of the program is to support all of you in achieving your goals.
Thank you. Well, I'm Sil. I'll go next, I guess. I'm very interested in healing my body from the inside out. I need ideas to get inspired. I am bored with food, and I want to eat healthier. So I live in Miramar. I'm not working right now. I go to Nova. I'm a grad student. I'm going for a master's in mental health counseling. So I've been dedicating a lot of time in healing my mind, my soul, and now I want to heal my body. And I'm just on that path. So I'm grateful for this course.
Thank you, Sil. And Sil, what would you say is your one main goal?
Just knowing which foods give me energy and make me feel good, or in preparation. Really, that's where I get in trouble, when I get hungry and I don't have the right foods. That's where.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Who's next?
I'll go next. My name is Natalie. Hello?
Yep.
Oh, I'll go next. My name is Natalie. I would consider myself a foodie. I feel very happy around food. It excites me.
Mm-hmm.
I live in Hollywood, and my goal is basically to eat correctly for my body type, and also to exercise for my body type. Very concerned about my heart. My dad died of a massive heart attack at 51. I'm now 50. So I want to just stop the cycle, the genetic cycle.
Great.
That's it.
Thank you. Ken, do you want to go next?
See me jumping in. Yes, my name is Ken, and I live in Oakland Park. The thing I want you to know about me is I've been eating professionally for about 46 years now. But I don't know what even to tell you. But as far as my goal for the course is that I'd shared with Rachel is that I cook at home, but what I find is that I can walk through Publix, and when I get to the register, I've got $120 worth of food, and there's not a meal in the cart. So I want to do a lot of meal planning, a lot of shopping assistance to help me with getting food into the house, so that way it can be cooked. That's my big thing is I don't seem to have anything here. And if you saw what I ate today, you would know that I just don't have stuff in the house that's healthy, and I can't look inside the cupboards and find a meal. So I need assistance with meal planning and food and shopping.
Great. Thank you. Roberto.
Hey there. So my name is Robert Taylor. I am about to be 48 years old. I live in Wilton Manors. I am an entrepreneur. I have a real estate company, and I have been taking on my health in the last 3 or 4 months. And the main goal is to keep adding the right tools, so when I get off track for a short period of time, I come back on track very quickly. More of a steering the course as opposed to leaving the course and coming back. And I've been doing very well with that, but there's more to add. There's other levels to get to. Mm-hmm. And this is one of them. Shopping and cooking are definitely something that's been lacking in terms of efficiency and expediency. So that's what's next for me, and I'm glad to be here.
Yay.
Great. Well, thank you all again. I feel personally honored that you decided to work with me, and I'm just so excited about the fact that the information and experience that I've gained, and it hasn't been easy. Like I live on my own, shopping for one, cooking for one, cleaning up after one. That's not the most fun thing I've ever done, and I love food. But I had to come to grips with it. I had to learn how to feed myself regularly, or else I would be sick. And I don't want other people to get sick. That's why I do what I do. And I really I had to think about one of the questions that I get asked when I'm doing my marketing and that kind of thing is, well, why do you do what you do? And it's because I don't want other people to be as sick as I got, because it's not necessary. And we have all of the tools. Like, we have everything we need around us. It's in what we put in our mouths. And it's in the habits that we have in our life. So my whole aim is just to share whatever I've learned and gained and garnered through my life experience with others, so that they don't have to experience the discomfort that I did. So that's where this came from. And I just want to go over, so again, thank you guys for sharing that with us, and we'll see what develops. I want to go over a few meal planning basics. So the meal planning is that's what we're here for, right? That's what we all kind of signed up for. And each session, we are going to do meal planning actually together. And we're going to spend a little bit more time on it in the beginning, and we're going to spend less time on it as we get towards the end of the course. So that the idea is every Friday you guys have a plan for the following week, and you have a shopping list. So then, because you have scheduled the time that you need, you're going to go out and you're going to do your shopping. And then over the next day or two, and even you'll probably do some cooking over the weekend, and you'll figure out what works for you. But then I seem to do it in 2 batches. I do some cooking over the weekend, and then I do some more cooking midweek, about Wednesday. And that way you're always going to have food in the fridge, and it's so exciting.
Yes.
I have this mental image right now of my little Pyrex containers that are sitting in my fridge right now waiting for me, with my fish stew and my greens, and I'm very excited. I can't wait to finish our call so I can eat.
Nice. Rachel, can I ask you, why do you prefer the Pyrex, the glass, opposed to the plastic? Can you tell us what your philosophy on that is?
Well, I believe that plastic is bad for us, and especially if we're reheating it.
Okay.
I do all of my reheating in a toaster oven, so I couldn't use plastic. And even if I was using a microwave, I think that the heat helps release the toxic chemicals in the plastic. Mm-hmm. So I choose not to use that.
Okay, gotcha. Thanks.
So again, my whole thing is, what is easy? It's hard enough to balance a social life and a work life and a spiritual life and a romantic life. Like, all of that's hard enough. I don't need to make my life any harder. So when I choose the dishes that I store my food in, when I pack my food away, I pack it away into one-size servings. So all I have to do, I don't have to even take it out of a larger storage container and put it onto a plate to heat up. I heat up my little 1-cup servings. So it's super easy. And that's what I'm going to keep referring to in our calls, is what's the easiest thing for you? What are your shortcuts? And the menu planning that we start with, what I'm going to encourage to begin with, is what's easy for you to make. It's really I know I have a tendency to get really excited about food. I'm like, oh, I want to cook this, and I'm going to cook this Indian dish, and then I'm going to do this Mexican dish, and then, next week it's Thai. And that's all great. But the idea is, we don't want to overload ourselves. So what I encourage you to do is, I have a few favorites that I make every week. And I have certain things, like I buy these chicken sausages that are pre-cooked, they're gluten-free, they're organic, they're delicious. All I have to do is cut them in half, throw them in the toaster oven, heat them up for 20 minutes, and then they're ready. So I know those are on my menu plan every week. I love them. They're a great source of protein, and they're super easy. So I'm going to, I encourage you to have a few go-to items like that. And then each week, maybe try something new. Try something a little more complicated. And that way you'll gradually expand your repertoire, but you'll be taking it nice and slow. We already talked about scheduling time for planning and shopping and cooking. I tend to go for themes, and you could, like I'll do a Brazilian night or I'll do a Mexican night.
Nice.
That's just how my mind works. You'll find another way to create your meal, another sort of central column to create your meal plan around. But that's what works for me. I use a lot of fresh herbs and spices, and ground spices or dried spices. So a lot of fresh herbs and then a lot of spices. What I encourage you, again, if this is a new area for you, try one herb this week that you haven't tried before. Don't go and get all excited and buy 5 because then that's overload and you're not going to use all 5, and then you feel bad at the end of the week because you're throwing food out. And that's just a cycle that we don't want to perpetuate. I've been there. It's no fun. So each week you try one. This week it's basil. Next week it's fennel. The week after that it's tarragon. And be willing to try things out. I was doing a cooking class in California and we were making a frittata. So a frittata is always on my menu plan also. But we were making a frittata and the woman wanted to add sage. Now, that's not a flavor that I would usually pair with eggs and vegetables, but she wanted to try it. So I was like, okay, let's try it. We cooked it. It wasn't the best thing I'd ever tasted, but now we know. And it's no harm, no foul. So just be willing to make mistakes, be willing to try things. It's all part of being in class. Okay. So as a guideline, because I think I've spoken to all of you, Natalie, you're probably the only one that I don't know this definitively about, but pretty much everyone else on the call I know skips meals and doesn't eat regularly enough.
No, I don't do that anymore.
Great. And that's probably from working with Dr. Beck.
Yes, correct. But I have leveled off my insulin, where I don't skip meals, but if I am going to, I make sure I snack in between, like every 2 to 3 hours, so I keep myself level and I'm not starving.
Yeah. So what I'm going to share with everyone else is the schedule that I use as far as eating. Now, it's a little intensive, and this is particularly because of the blood sugar issues that I'm dealing with. So this is something that you guys may or may not want to incorporate, but it's just a guideline you can use. And again, I'm going to email this to you. So the idea is you have breakfast within an hour of waking up. And Ken, I know you like to exercise in the morning. So what I do is I switch my snack, which is a protein shake, which I add my greens to, with my breakfast. So I start with my protein shake so I don't have a full stomach when I work out. And then after I work out, I eat my breakfast. So you can switch that around. But the idea is that you have something in your stomach, you break your fast within an hour of waking up. Then a couple hours later, you eat a little something. Then you have lunch. Then you have a snack. And then you have dinner. Now, it's funny because bodybuilders eat like this. So not only is it a way to keep your blood sugar steady, but it's also a way to keep your metabolism at a steady burn. So I think it's a really great way to eat. Another thing that I wanted to share with you is the formula. So what do I actually put in my meals? All of my meals, my main meals, I have some kind of a protein, and I eat animal protein. So for me, I don't eat, I eat birds and fish. So I have a 4 to 5 ounce piece of protein. I have a carbohydrate, And I eat whole grains a lot. So I use rice, brown rice, black rice, red rice. I don't like white rice. It's not a whole food. And a boatload of vegetables. I try and have 2 vegetables at every meal. So I steam a lot of my stuff. We'll talk about cooking methods. But today I had green beans and kale with my eggs in the morning. And then I had a whole bunch of vegetables in my eggs. And then with each meal, you also want to have a healthy fat. Now, you don't necessarily have to have 2 to 4 tablespoons if you're not dealing with blood sugar issues, but you want to have some kind of a healthy fat. And now that could be avocado, that could be a nut butter, that could be cooking with coconut oil or sesame oil or grapeseed oil, ghee. Those are all healthy fats. Even a little bit of butter. A little bit of butter is fine. So that's the formula and the schedule that I like to use for eating. And it's just a guideline. You'll find out what works for you. Okay. Okay, so does anybody at this point have any questions or comments?
I've got 2 questions for you.
Go for it.
One is you had mentioned about, you go on, you might have a Brazilian thing one week and a Mexican the next. Do you cook meals and freeze them for future weeks, or do you just cook for that particular week and eat everything when it's as fresh as it could be?
It's a great question. Normally, I don't freeze, and that's only because I found that I forget about it and I never eat it.
Okay.
Saying that, last week, and I'm going to give you the recipe for moqueca, which is a Brazilian fish stew. I made a pot of it last week, and I had 6 servings or 8 servings. I couldn't eat that within the time frame before it spoiled, so I froze 2 servings. And I'm using it this week. I'm going to take I take one out, and I've got that in the freezer if I need it. But I generally don't freeze just because I forget about the stuff and I don't use it.
Okay. And there's just a quick second question. As you had mentioned about with what you eat for breakfast, you switch it up if you're working out in the morning. The question I had for you is it possible that the big sleep that I take after I go to the gym, I usually just have a little carbohydrate. I have some cereal and some milk before I go to anything major. Would it be smarter for me to switch to have a protein before I go to the gym? As opposed
Absolutely.
to carbs?
You want some carbs because you need to fuel your body. I think you probably have some blood sugar issues mixed in with your lack of fuel. So I think for you especially, like if you did a protein shake with some fat, because that's going to give you the carbs to fuel your body while you're working out, but it's also going to give the fat slows down the metabolizing of the proteins, so it makes it last longer.
And would you suggest something in the shake or something additional?
Yeah, I throw coconut oil in my shakes.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I was shocked.
It's
pretty good. It actually adds a nice little flavor to it.
Done.
Or
I'll give it a try and report back.
A quarter of an avocado.
Okay.
Can't even taste the avocado, but it adds a really nice thickness, actually. That's a nice option, too. And it's avocado season in South Florida. Okay. Anybody else? Questions?
So I have a quick question.
Mm-hmm.
So with the kind of food that you're talking about, how many meals per day do you have, or do you call them all meals? Do you call them snacks? How do you differentiate that?
I have 3 meals and 2 snacks.
And the difference?
My snacks are protein and fat, and they're smaller. So it might be a protein shake, it might be a protein bar, it might be a couple slices of turkey with a quarter of an avocado. It's just something to keep my body fueled, keep my blood sugar level constant as I'm going through my day. With my meals, I have, as opposed to maybe 2 ounces of protein, I have 4 to 5 ounces of protein, and I have carbs in with that.
Okay, got it. Cool.
All right. Anybody else? Okay. So we're going to get to the crux of the matter. Let's do some meal planning. And like I said, I keep everything super simple. So I'm gonna show you 2 different ways to do some meal planning. And one of them, let's see, I'll show you this one first. So this is what I do. I work on my computer, like I'm on my computer all the time. So it's easy for me to just work on my computer. So what I do, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I have my 3 categories. My snacks, I pretty much have figured out. Like they're going to be protein shakes or protein bars or some sliced turkey or something. Or, a little bit of leftovers of what I've got. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then I come up with some ideas that I might want that week for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So for example, in this case, it was protein pancakes. How many times was I going to have that? I was going to have 3 servings of that. And then with that, I was going to have fruit, 2 pieces of fruit each time. So that means I needed 6 pieces of fruit. So I do the numbers because that helps me when I'm doing my shopping list. How much do I need to buy? And then 4 servings of frittata for breakfast that week. I was going to have 2 pieces of fruit. I was going to have some toast and some greens. And that's my breakfast for the week. I don't make it complicated. Sometimes I'll use leftovers of meals that I had the night before. I'm not fussy about what I have for breakfast. I don't have to have breakfast food. Lunches. A couple chicken sausages, half a sweet potato, greens, stir-fried chicken, greens, and rice, quinoa with veggies, greens, beans, roasted squash. So these are guidelines for me so that I know what I need to buy. Fish, greens, roasted squash. So that's how I do my meal plans. Now, saying that, I'm very comfortable with so when I see fish, greens, roasted squash, I know that I'm probably going to add to my fish before I cook it. I'm going to add some coconut milk. I'm going to add some bell pepper, maybe some turmeric, maybe some ginger and garlic. So so I know that that's going to happen. So this is a very simplified visual cue for making my shopping list. And then here's my shopping list. I use the same page and I just go through, and I know that out of 1 package of chicken sausages, I get 2 servings. I know that I buy my fish at Costco in the big 2-pound bag. So I may need to buy fish that week. Chicken. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. So that's one way of doing it. Another way of doing it is using a weekly menu planner. And it's this you'd have to print out. It's a PDF, and again, I'm sending you the link for that. But it's a PDF, you print it out, and then you can handwrite it. So if you work better using handwritten stuff, fantastic. Use this. For the purposes of today's call and this meal plan that we're going to work on right now, let's all just, if you have a piece of paper handy, if you want to use your computer, do whatever works for you. But let's get that ready now. Yeah, like I'm not this organized. I don't need to know what I'm eating on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I just need to have the food in the fridge. And I'll eat it when I feel like it. So what I want you guys to start with is write your categories, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I want you to think of a few no-brainer meals for you. For those meals, or for those, things that you enjoy, things that are easy for you to prepare. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to take 5 minutes. And if you're finished, if you kind of get to a point where you're going to stop, you've come up with a few ideas, you haven't maybe fleshed out everything, that's fine. Just let me know. So if we're done before 5 minutes, that's fine too.
I'm sorry, Rachel, I had to step away. You want us to write down breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Yeah, I want you to, now we're going to start building our meal plan for this coming week.
Right.
So I want you to write your categories of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then write down a couple of dishes in each category that are just a no-brainer for you, that are going to be easy
Okay.
for you to prepare. You're going to enjoy them.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah.
Hey, Rachel, it's Robert.
Yep.
I just want to acknowledge two things. We, number one, I was a passenger, and then I was online. I got the app and everything, and I had to change. We hit one of the worst storms I've ever been in, and so I switched over to driving. So I'm just on the audio here, so I'm not going to. I can't participate for the next few minutes on any of the things online. Okay.
Okay.
But
So
the other thing to acknowledge, I'm sitting here and I realize, I did this a couple of times with the other class that I did not make the necessary time or arrangements to be not only on the call, but be with the call, be prepared, be online, everything like that. And so the neat thing is, Ken, the other boy on this call, he and I are business partners, and we meet just about every day in the morning to take care of our business, and I'm just guessing that we're going to add this to the mix. So I will use him as my accountability partner, not only for the work, but also for the weekly calls. So there's my commitment.
Okay. When are you going to work on your meal plan for this coming week, Robert?
This weekend. I'm home tomorrow afternoon. And
So
Ken and I are
when
meeting
this weekend will you have it done?
By when? Tomorrow night, before I go to bed.
Okay. And when are you going to do your shopping?
I'm thinking Sunday would probably work, and I'll see if I'll see if Kenny wants to go shopping with me.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sure.
Sure.
Sure. Well, I appreciate you putting that back up there, because as soon as you said make a meal plan, I just completely drew a blank. If I don't bring it in through the window of the car, I don't eat. So.
Yeah, I hear you. The thing to keep in mind, I think part of that tiredness in the morning, Ken, cereal with milk, it's actually very high in sugar. So that's not a great breakfast for you.
Okay.
A frittata it's freaking great. I make 4 portions at a time. And I didn't actually include that in the recipes for this week, but I will. I'll send you guys my recipe for frittata, just as a guideline. But that, you wrap it in tin foil, you throw it in the oven, the toaster oven, heat it up for 20 minutes while you're in the shower. It's perfect.
And what is a frittata? Some of my Latin friends talk about it, and they say, "Oh, just make a frittata." I'm just like, well, okay, what is it? Is it like I'm not even going to guess.
It's like a quiche, but no pastry.
Oh, okay.
It's an egg pie.
And you just throw veggies in there. Do you throw cheese in it too, or just veggies?
You can throw cheese if you eat. I don't eat cheese, so I don't put cheese. But yeah, I put tons of vegetables, and you could put cheese. I always put an herb just for some seasoning. I like oregano. Basil's really good.
So it sounds like it's a lazy person's vegetable omelet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, sold.
Yeah, you're getting the lazy people recipes, by the way.
And then tell me about these protein pancakes. It seems like 2 words that should be put together.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that too. What is that?
Those are pancakes that I use protein powder in as part of the ingredients. So actually, I'll give you guys that recipe too. I made it the other day. I didn't like them. I didn't make it very successfully. I was going to try again though. But I'll give you that recipe too.
And when you say protein powder, you mean like the actual stuff you'd take after a workout? Or...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I use Vega 1, which is a plant-based protein source that has also other nutrients in there. And that's where I got the recipe from. Okay. So I think fruit's important. I like to include my fruit in the mornings. And I always put berries into my shakes. So you have to start thinking about what's a well-rounded meal for you. For me, it's protein, it's fat, it's a little bit of fruit, some vegetables, and making sure I get some carbohydrates. So how's everyone doing? Do we have some basic ideas for breakfast, lunch, and dinner?
Yeah, I think I'm done.
Okay.
Basic, but I need lots of help.
Okay. All right. So, Natalie, why don't you share what you've got for breakfast?
My breakfast, well, I make breakfast for myself and my husband. So when I cook, it's for two.
Mm-hmm.
I normally have for breakfast every morning. I use my Vitamix a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I do apple, cucumber. I mix up my greens, either kale or dandelion greens. I normally use coconut water or almond milk, and I use a hemp protein. And if I don't have hemp protein, I use chia seeds. If I don't have time to make a green smoothie, then I do the night before chia seeds and almond milk with some vanilla, and I put that on fruit.
Okay.
That's normally my breakfast.
Great. Thank you. Sil, what do you have for breakfast?
I'll share. Usually for breakfast, I have 2 eggs in the morning with gluten-free toast and coffee with almond milk, and that's it.
Okay. Ken, how are you doing on breakfast?
As far as what I'm looking forward to doing or what I'm doing currently, it's usually cereal with almond milk.
Okay, and what do you have on your meal plan for next week?
I put on here egg/frittata. I like the idea of the protein pancakes. I'm going to investigate that. And then I don't know if it was Silvana that was talking about the grain smoothie. It sounds kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. If you're going to work out, so the green smoothie, I find a green smoothie doesn't last me that long. Okay. So again, I'll have that first thing, so I have something so I can go and work out on. But then you have to eat. You have to add something back to your body after you've worked out, especially protein and carbs.
So the days I go to work out, I would probably do a protein shake with a little bit of fats added in. You mentioned coconut oil or a quarter of an avocado. Put that in before I worked out. Now, after I worked out, I came home. That's probably when I do the eggs or the protein pancakes. I'd give that a try.
Yeah, perfect. And actually, on our next call, we're going to have Lori join us, and she's going to talk to us about breakfasts and give us some different breakfast ideas to try out. So the idea this week is I don't want you guys to get overstimulated with too many new ideas. I want us to get used to the planning and the shopping and the cooking, the prep, this week. And then we'll start adding we'll layer more new ideas on top as we go.
Okay.
Okay, so for lunches. And Robert, do you have any ideas for breakfast?
Yeah, I do. I'm a big fan of eggs in the morning. I do omelets and frittatas. I probably do that 3 or 4 times a week. Mm-hmm. I do probably skip breakfast twice a week, which is something I'm working on. And then I'm also a fan of leftovers. I'll put I'll do a protein and some vegetables, and now I do throw it in the microwave. I'm kind of working on that, but I don't mind eating any meal for breakfast.
Yeah.
So and what's there, just to get back to, is I have a great juicer, and I have I do protein shakes, and I have not put the commitment to it, but I would love to get those back in the mix for the first thing in the morning.
Great. Okay. All right, let's look at lunch. Natalie, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you've got there for lunch?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of leftovers too, so if I have something left over, I will bring it in. Normally salads, I make things in advance, and and I either freeze things or I make it way in advance and have them so I can just pull them and go. So maybe tuna salad, slice eggs on it, mix it up with some beans, avocado, the chicken. I'm a big fan of those chicken sausages. So yeah, it can be anything that mostly leftovers that I use, and just finding a protein and just maybe getting a salad. And then, when I eat that light, then I'll just snack in between. At 3 hours, I'll have something else, another protein.
Okay, great. Sil, what about you? What do you have for lunch?
I also sometimes I make me a salad with lettuce, tomatoes, tuna, and olive oil and vinegar. And then I have an apple later or something like that, or nuts. That's what I do for lunch. Or a sandwich.
Okay, so is this what you have on your meal plan for next week?
Oh, for next week it'll be a salad with tuna and lettuce, tomatoes. Or I'm also thinking gluten-free pasta and tuna. That's what I do for lunch.
Okay.
Something easy.
Okay. You want to think about adding some more vegetables,
Okay.
especially greens. I can't stress enough, you guys. Greens, greens, greens.
So like romaine lettuce, bell peppers, what else can I put in my salad?
Yeah.
Tomatoes.
I also encourage you to cook some of your greens, like kale and chard,
Okay.
collard greens. So they can be a little fibrous, and especially after talking to you, I think for you, some cooked foods would really be useful.
Okay.
Purple cabbage is pretty good.
What's that?
Purple cabbage.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Ken, lunch.
I'm actually just stealing from y'all because I had absolutely nothing here. I like the idea of the chicken sausage with the sweet potato. I'm stealing the idea of the tuna salad with the greens and the tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like quinoa, so that's something that I make. I mean, anybody can make it, so that's a good source of protein. So just doing quinoa and veggies would be a good lunch. I'm asking, is that true or?
Personally, I think that for some people that works. Personally, I think that I like a little bit more. Like I like to add an animal protein in there.
Okay.
Because you have to eat a heck of a lot of quinoa. It's 6 grams for a quarter of a cup dry. So 6 grams of
Okay.
protein for a quarter cup dry, which is about that's a normal serving size.
Right.
Yeah, that's not, 6 grams of protein is not a ton.
No.
And a quarter cup dry, that's not a ton either. So you don't want to add you'd have to eat a heck of a lot of quinoa to get enough protein, basically.
Okay. I'm a big fan of that just about everything. So I could throw some chicken in there too, I guess.
Yeah. And what you can do, what I like to do is I'll grill off a couple pieces of chicken. I get a whole package of chicken and I'll just grill it off. And then I use it in different ways with different dishes, but it's easy and it's prepped up.
How long would that keep if you're just putting it in the fridge?
I keep it for 3 days.
Okay.
That's my 3 days is the number.
Rachel, I got a
I'm going to be
question.
doing a lot of chicken sausage this week.
Go ahead, Sil.
Your examples you have for lunch, I see greens and beans. Are beans carbs or proteins? What are they considered? Can I eat brown rice with beans, or I get confused with that?
Well, rice and beans make a complete protein. They have all the amino acids that are necessary to make protein within your body. They are both carbohydrates, though.
Right, that's what I thought.
So for me, it doesn't work. I just don't feel good if I have rice and beans.
Yeah, no.
It's too much carbs for me, and I feel it in my blood sugar levels. But that's me.
Yeah.
So you have to play with that. That's something to play with. I want to give you guys a recipe now for moqueca. I have 2 recipes I was going to share with you tonight. So one is for the Brazilian fish stew. It's really easy. And it makes 6 to 8 servings. So if there's 2 of you, that's great because there's a couple, a few servings each. Or like I did, I froze a couple servings, so I had some, and then a couple days later, I have some more. But this is super easy. It kind of looks like there's a lot of ingredients, but when you actually get into it, it's really not that much, and it doesn't take long to prep. And it's fun because part of it is you have to have music in the background.
Oh, I like that. Have fun with yourself, right?
Absolutely, and have fun with your food.
Yes. Mhm.
So this is one recipe. You guys can add this into your meal plan if you like. And then another one that I have for you is roasted cauliflower steaks. And it does have tamari or soy sauce in the ingredients list. I get the gluten-free kind.
Yes.
Although I'm not eating soy right now, but when I do eat soy, I eat the gluten-free kind. And I use maple syrup instead of agave, but it's up to you. So these are just 2 ideas. What do you have for dinner for this coming week, Natalie?
For dinner, I usually make an Indian lentil soup with spinach.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll put pumpkin in there, or whatever I have around that I need to throw in there, greens. Then I normally do like fish with some sort of green, like maybe broccoli. And with all my meals for dinner, I always make a rainbow salad.
Mm-hmm.
So I always have that. I use a lot of ground chicken, ground turkey. I do stuffed peppers with it. Spaghetti squash, baked chicken, sweet potato, yams.
So is this
cassava.
what you have? Is this what you have on your meal plan for next week?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I play with my food a lot too, so I kind of mix things up, and I like to try different things. So my rainbow salad has greens. It can have kale or a spring mix, purple cabbage, radishes, artichokes, sweet peppers. Basically, I try to do what's in season too. If there's something new, I'll try it. Chopped up broccoli, shaved broccoli, zucchini. I just grate it on there.
Great. Okay, Sil, what have you got on your meal plan for dinner next week?
I usually like to take chicken or fish. I stir fry chicken with veggies or.
Hold on, I want to stop you for a minute. When you say, is this what's on your meal plan for next week, or are you thinking about what you usually make? Okay.
Well, what I usually make is that, but also I already have chicken and fish, so I usually veggies, or for this week, I guess brown rice and veggies and a side of either fish or chicken.
Okay. Ken?
I'm going to Natalie's for dinner after I heard all that.
You're welcome to come over anytime.
I'm actually having some difficulties here as well. I mean, just to kind of get into the way of doing it, is it possible to cheat and like buy a pre-cooked chicken and then just eat half one day, and I don't know, and add stuff to it just to kind of get